Bulk Truth, another day. How's it going?
Good. How are you, Steve?
Well, Royce, welcome to your show, The Bulk Truth, where you know, CADARO just brings insight, this clarity into areas of a plant and an operation that didn't exist before. We know how much water is going through, we know how much gas or oil we're pumping, but it's not always clear the data on the dry bulk materials that are running through the plant, and that's where you guys come in. And today's topic is we're talking about when someone walks away that knew the deal. Here's pulling it up. When experience walks out the door, how to bridge tribal knowledge gap. And so, here's what the truth is in most of these situations. There's a trusted employee that's just been there for a long time and has the knack, knows what's going on, and they can just tell by feel. I mean, that's a lot of deep expertise and years of experience. But what happens when they're sick or when they retire? And that's where you guys come in. So, how often have you seen this happen, Royce?
It's becoming more frequent all the time. I mean, as we got involved with this project early on, and we made site visits, it became clear that operations teams and maintenance teams, they know their plants very well. But many of those, I mean, they've been doing it for quite some time. I don't know how many times we've been at a plant and somebody's talking about retiring shortly, and replacing that level of knowledge is challenging, and just finding labor period in a lot of these rural spaces. I mean, that's one of their top five as far as challenges that they're trying to address.
These guys work in, outside, or they're in noisy environments. The weather's hot or it's cold or it's out in the open, and they're having to track all of this and document it on a pad or some clipboard or something. And then all of a sudden that's gone, and the data that you did trust in the format you were collecting, you have to start over almost.
Yeah. And many times, I mean, the person with experience is just, they can do the job in their sleep, right? I mean, they've done it enough that they're intuitive. They know what's going on. But again, they have to be in the seat. They have to be present to complete the task. And so that's what we're finding is, what people are looking for is a way to be objective as far as the process, put something in place that's accurate, it's consistent, it's repeatable, it's scalable. That's what they're looking to accomplish. And ideally, then they start freeing up those experienced employees or whatever employee resources they have to do more higher value tasks.
So this tribal knowledge, this is not something that you guys have recognized. This is a common problem in every organization, and so that's why you see software. That's why you see automation. That's why you see artificial intelligence being implemented, because it's collecting and bringing that tribal knowledge and putting it into a source that can be studied, that can deliver insights that corporate can look at, or you can use to train new people. And that's all you're doing is you guys are shining a light in an area that's, as an industry, has a dark place that's a lot of unknowns, and just go by feel.
Sure. And what we're seeing is it opens up a door to, as far as the type of employer, type of skill sets that you're looking for. So now it may be less important the level of experience that they had in bulk material handling, and more important that that maybe they have some knowledge of technology and automation, and they can utilize, and leverage technology in a broader way to do more tasks with a single person.
I can imagine it'd be a whole lot less stressful, even if I wasn't retiring, but I was in this position and I'm supposed to go out. And I, I was amazed. You talked about use a hammer, or you listen to the pull on the engine, or all these little secret indicators. It must be nice to even get a dashboard where you're sitting in an air conditioned environment and you have clarity and they know exactly. That must be so much less stressful.
Sure. Well, and you mentioned the dashboard, right? It's consistent, so it's data driven. And so if you think about a process, it's something that's data driven, consistent, repeatable, scalable. I mean, those continue to be the key buzzwords as far as, what the opportunity can be with technology and sensors like what CADARO provides.
When I was a salesperson, I had to turn in these daily reports, and those reports are done by hand, and I was always too busy, or it was always a thing that I felt was a tax on me. And then I'd turn it in, and then what would they be? They would be audited, and then I'd be in, question on those reports, the accuracy. And this is the same situation here, where that's why I adopted CRM technology, because it just documented your activity as you went, and that activity or that flow or that deal that I created it, but it was benefit to me. It's just that the rest of the team took advantage of the insights of that data on the dashboard just from my input. And so I was doing something that was helping me, but is also facilitating what was needed in the organization.
Sure. Well, I think similar to what you're describing as far as doing those reports, once you have data, once you know what the measurements are, flow rates, then that information becomes valuable as far as being able to guide an employee as far as their performance. What does what is the goal? What is the objective as far as performance? Where are they currently at, and how can it be improved? Recently, we had a call with an existing customer, and they're using our technology in processes, or as far as batching and mixing feeds, and it's pretty interesting that once we put it on the screen, they could actually see it ramping up and coming down in about a 10 minute increment, and it was the 30% variance as far as the process. And we actually saw their screens, and the lines for everything else they're measuring were fairly flat because they're looking at an average, but where we were giving them real-time insights as far as exactly what was happening, they were starting to pick up trends, and then start generating the questions that we typically hear. Well, why is that doing that? What can we do to improve and level that out, or continue to operate at the highest level? And then the last thing that they made comments on, or it was looking at their yields. And so industry average or industry norm, I believe, in that process was like a 70% yield. And it was showing them that they were actually performing at that level, right? But with a higher level of visibility.
So you're talking about the hidden operational risk, things you don't know, that the quality of the mix of the feed or whatever it is that you're putting in that bag can improve the quality of the product just by hitting the accurate numbers. You mentioned a 30% variance. You guys are able to bring in insights to where you're getting with a plus or minus on that invariance, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, our target as far as accuracy is plus or minus 1%. And so as you can dial in your process and understand the range that it's operating, and dial that down and bring it in and make it tighter to where it's as consistent as possible. And it's performing as you wish and as you want it for any given time. And then it goes back to that, the person of experience that's been operating that can somewhat do that, right? Maybe not to that same level of accuracy, but then as you're replacing and finding new employees, right, to replace the people that are retiring, it gives you an opportunity to continue to upgrade and improve performance regardless of who's sitting in the seat.
So you're also protecting the equipment by getting insights into how the equipment is performing. Otherwise, you have to be intuitive and understand when something is being stressed, or by having a more continuous flow, you're reducing stress, et cetera. What are some other examples?
Yeah. So as you think about equipment, you may be running a hammer mill, so you may see over time, right, the rate that's being fed, or the rate that we're seeing coming through the mill is changing, right? So it always begs the question, why is it changing? Do we need to turn the screens, or are we potentially starting to see some type of obstruction upstream, right? So it's not coming through like it was before. And so you might spot a problem, spot a trend or something that's going on before it becomes a plug or a major problem. And we've seen that in some applications where they get comfortable with the data, and all of a sudden the data changed. And so they know that, wait a second, we need to go and check that bin, or check, there's maybe a bucket came off the leg or the elevator that, it's in the bottom of the bin. It's causing an obstruction. So they start seeing those things in real time in the data.
Even environmental or humidity or other things that they're just guessing at some point. They've got experience and they probably have good guesses, but they're guesses nevertheless.
Yes, that's correct. And once you get it on a monitor and you start seeing that rhythm, see that flow, again, you're going to see an average, and you're going to start getting metrics over time as far as what's normal, as far as operations, and they're going to observe that and know that. But again, they're going to start being able to see what's going on at any given moment. And it's still ideal that if they change the speed, right, as far as if they made an adjustment on a motor, on a belt, they can see it in real time, what the impact of that adjustment was and how close did that move them closer to where they want to be operating, or what they were trying to accomplish.
This happens. So you have a situation where you can resolve and bring clarity to the flow of an incline. Then you can also do it as a gravity fed, right?
Yes. Yeah. So as far as orientation, so we have vertical flow, we have incline flow. Now with our Veracity Diamond series, we have very low clearance, and they're scalable. And so we're measuring as low as 15 pounds a minute all the way up to 50,000 pounds a minute. And so a very broad scale. So what's been helpful is, as we look at operations and look at an existing facility, and we can see where those transition points are, what sizes they are, what type clearance they might have, then we select the product that has the best fit. And that's helping accelerate the adoption. It helps accelerate the implementation of the technology in the plants. And in many cases, it's a significant savings from the capital requirements of putting in something like a bulk weigh or something that's fairly large, takes up a lot of space, and belt scales. We're also getting more and more of that feedback that this is an alternative, that people are evaluating a way to measure, and this is just, they're finding that this is a very viable alternative just because of the overall cost of implementation.
Yeah, and it reduces the need for any retrofitting or significant retrofitting.
That's right. So it can be up and running very quickly.
So all of a sudden you get this immediate, within a day. I mean, we're not talking weeks or months. It's just you can have it installed in the morning, calibrated, and observing actual data on a screen that same day.
Sure. Yeah, we've had implementations that have been anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 to 3 hours, but very quick.
So immediately you've got your flow now is being metered correctly, and you're gathering data. So there's the obvious upsides to that. The person that's running it now is not the only person that can do it. Other people can step in and learn the system very quickly. But what are some of the upstream benefits from that?
So I think upstream, as you see the overall operational efficiency, and so as you look at what your target yields are, where you want to be operating, where you're actually at, how can you make adjustments? Again, you set that baseline using technologies like the CADARO flow sensors, and then you start adjusting off of that baseline. And so ideally, that's helping you address, when we talk about labor and we talk about experience, regardless of what their level of experience is, you can train somebody to monitor, and ideally you're automating the process where it's taking the data and it's leveling out the process on its own. And so you move from a very intensive, very manual process to an automated process that is going to be more sustainable over time across shifts and across months through the year.
And then the upstream being to the C-suite, but the downstream is now we have trucks unloading in more of an organized fashion where we don't have hangups. We have, just a lot of other, I guess you would call, logistical upsides.
Yeah. So from the time materials being unloaded, coming into a facility to the time it's going out, right? Anywhere along that process, and at various transitions is an opportunity to measure and get greater visibility as far as performance. You talked about, as far as the upstream, depending on what seat you're in, it's going to possibly have different benefits or different values. So if you're looking at trying to reconcile at accounting level, reconcile inventories to where you can have a very consistent, accurate measurement and know what's going on and see that at any given moment, but for sure every day, right? So you're not trying to reconcile at the end of the month, at the end of the quarter. So you're seeing it, and you can take those adjustments as needed through the process. As we're looking at yields and we're looking at, as we get into processes like ethanol, there's so many additional benefits of having good quality, accurate measurements and how it's going to be applied and how it's going to help the bottom line of the facility, which is what your key management positions are going to be looking for.
So what are you have several ways to set up an investment for these. Talk about those.
As far as how they access the technology?
Yeah, the subscriptions or outright purchases, et cetera.
Yeah, so typically the process starts with some type of site assessment. So generally customers are going to come on, they may go online and schedule a meeting with us. And then from there, we'll pick the right product, and they have the opportunity. They can outright purchase the technology with perpetual license. Some are looking to do a CapEx project, so that's preferred for those type companies in that process. For those that are still they're skeptical, they really don't know what it's going to do for their operations, we have what we call the CADARO Complete. So it's a subscription. So we provide everything. They plug it in, they start measuring from day one, but they can build their own numbers to either support a later CapEx process, or in some cases, they may just use it as an OpEx expense on an ongoing basis.
All right. And then I guess what's anything else that you want to cover, Royce?
I think, just the comments around labor. That's the main takeaway from today is here's an opportunity to start measuring and using that accurate measurement to address the labor challenges of today and of tomorrow. And as we look at more automation and we look at, getting into those processes going forwards and how AI may fit into that, it starts with having good quality data. And that's where CADARO is going to help you.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about the folks that are in this position. They have to make these calls on the amount, make a decision, a best guess off of that information. There's a stress there. Maybe you extend the lifetime of a good valued employee. Maybe it makes it easy for you to bring someone in. And this isn't just having clarity on data. It's about improving your organization, your work processes as well. So that's kind of that's a big benefit to these organizations that adopt your CADARO.
Sure. The conditions that employees are able to work in utilizing this technology, just the stress of the job, right? As far as and maybe even job satisfaction of being able to see how they're performing in real time and how they're helping the organization achieve its goals and objectives. Again, it's just the fact that we can measure. Now they can start managing, and that's the theme that we continue to focus on.
All right, Royce. Well, the reason we do these is for people to find you and learn about maybe an option or expectation that they could have to improve their plants that they weren't aware of. Let's say I'm listening and I want to talk to you. What's best way to connect?
So reach out to us. The website's a great resource. CADARO.com, CADARO.com. That's a good place to start. And there's information on the website to learn more about our products and technology. There's a link on there that you can sign up for a site assessment. And so just schedule a team meeting based on your schedule and our schedule. And we connect online and walk through your facilities and what you're trying to accomplish. And that's generally the first step of starting the process.
Awesome. We have that sexy CADARO QR code right there. And just scan it with your phone, your camera, and click on it. It'll take you all the right places, and you'll get to talk to Royce. Royce, good job today. Guess that's all I got. How about you?
No, it's good. Thanks for another session.
All right. Another session of The Bulk Truth, where you can shine a light inside your organization, get clarity, get control, and improve your organization. And that's another episode of The Bulk Truth, and that's a wrap.